Albert Einstein once said, "The Buddha found what he was looking for." Einstein's views on Buddhism. I am not a religious person, but if I had to follow a religion, it would be Buddhism. From what I understand now, the Buddhist sutras have already said everything thousands of years ago. Albert Einstein. Buddhism has the characteristics of a universal religion that is expected for the future. It transcends the concept of a personal God, moves away from dogmas and theology, encompasses both the natural and the spiritual world, and is based on a religious feeling that arises from the experience of all things, natural and spiritual, as a meaningful unity. If there is any religion that could cope with the needs of modern science, it would be Buddhism. Albert Einstein considered Buddhism not only as a set of spiritual teachings, but also as a philosophy of life, an integral approach to the universe and humanity, reflecting a harmony between science and spirituality. He believed that in a world increasingly dominated by science and technology, Buddhism offers a flexible way of thinking, opening the door to a deep understanding of the nature of the universe and our place in it. What do science and spirituality have in common? Albert Einstein, an unshakable pillar in the history of science, marked a milestone for humanity with his theory of general relativity, opening a new era in how humans understand the universe. He discovered that time and space are not separate entities, but transform depending on the observer's position and speed. The equation E equals mc squared is not just a formula, it is a powerful statement about the unity between matter and energy, opening new doors for physical science. But Einstein was not just a scientist. He was also a philosopher and a great thinker who transcended the limits of scientific theory in search of harmony between science, philosophy, and religion. His perspective on religion was not one of blind superstition, but a profound perception of the order and wonder of the universe, reflecting a spirit in constant search of beauty and truth. By connecting science with philosophy and religion, Einstein became a symbol of tireless exploration and the desire to understand the world around us. Humanity lacks the wisdom to understand all the mysteries of nature. The Buddha offered humanity a great lesson, opening the way to maximize the infinite potential of the mind, guiding toward a deep understanding of the world around us, and ultimately toward liberation from the constant cycle of reincarnation. The difference lies in that, while Einstein sought to solve the mysteries of the outer universe, the Buddha turned his attention inward, using observation, wisdom, and authentic reasoning to attain enlightenment. Both the Buddha and Einstein approached their work with a scientific spirit, but the Buddha strongly emphasized that knowledge should not be accepted blindly. He encouraged verification through personal experience and reasoning, an open approach that only accepts what has been proven true. With this method, the Buddha attained the profound understandings he sought. Einstein emphasized the importance of morality and integrity in human beings. However, he believed that the origin of morality should not stem from fear or the expectation of punishment from a god or any other force. He said, "Man's ethical behavior should be based on compassion, education, and social ties along with his needs. Religion is not necessary for that. It is indeed regrettable that man's moral behavior be controlled by fear of punishment and hope of reward after death. If people are good only because they fear punishment and hope for reward, then we are a sorry lot indeed." Albert Einstein, Religion and Science, New York Times Magazine, November 9, 1930. Einstein denied the existence of a personal God, but could not explain the beauty and method with which the universe had been formed. He expressed it this way: "I do not believe in a personal God, and I have never denied this but have expressed it clearly. If something is in me that can be called religious, then it is the unbounded admiration for the structure of the world so far as our science can reveal it. I believe in Spinoza's God, who reveals himself in the orderly harmony of what exists, not in a God who concerns himself with the fates and actions of human beings." Albert Einstein, 1954. God is nothing but nature. What is Spinoza's God that Einstein refers to? Spinoza was a Dutch philosopher who asserted that God is nothing other than nature itself. According to Spinoza, there is matter, energy, atoms, molecules, life, thought, humans, societies, galaxies, and possibly even multiple universes, but nothing exists outside of nature, including spiritual phenomena and other phenomena we have yet to understand. If they exist, they are part of nature. According to Buddhism, there are 5 natural laws operating in the universe that cause everything to happen, known as the 5 niyamas. Karma, or action, is just one of these elements. Current circumstances are the result of countless factors constantly changing. There is no single cause that makes everything exist as it is. The following statement clarifies that although Einstein rejected God, he was not an atheist. I have repeatedly said that in my opinion, the idea of a personal God is a childlike idea, but I do not share the combative spirit of professional atheists, whose fervor is mainly due to a painful liberation from the chains of religious upbringing received in youth. I prefer a humble attitude corresponding to our weakness of understanding the mystery of the universe and our own selves. The middle way. The Buddha opposed the traditional Hindu notion that the world was created by God, which is known as nihilism, and also did not accept the materialism of those who do not believe in God, which is eternalism. He became the first philosopher to deny the idea that the soul is an unchanging entity. Einstein seemed to agree with both positions. In previous statements, Einstein showed humility in acknowledging that his knowledge was limited to deciphering the mysteries of the world. Let's reflect on what Einstein said. Man is a part of a whole, called by us universe, a part limited in time and space. He experiences himself, his thoughts and feelings as something separated from the rest, a kind of optical delusion of his consciousness. This delusion is a kind of prison for us, restricting us to our personal desires and to affection for a few persons nearest us. Our task must be to free ourselves from this prison by widening our circle of compassion to embrace all living creatures and the whole of nature in its beauty. No one can achieve this completely, but the striving for such an achievement is, in itself, a part of the liberation process and a foundation for inner security. Einstein, the Buddha, and the understanding of the universe. Physical concepts are free creations of the human mind and are not, however it may seem, uniquely determined by the external world, said Einstein. This excerpt from Einstein reflects a profound perspective on how we understand and create knowledge about the world around us. He stated that physical concepts, the way we describe and explain natural phenomena, are not uniquely determined by the external world, but are products of the human mind. In other words, while the natural world exists independently and follows its laws, the way we understand and interpret it through concepts and physical theories is our creation, based on observation, reasoning, and creativity. Einstein emphasized the flexibility and creativity of science, as well as the fact that there is no single path or fixed answer for any question. This opens up possibilities for innovation and progress in science as scientists continue to develop and adjust their theories to more accurately reflect the natural world. This perspective also underscores the importance of understanding that scientific knowledge is not absolute. Scientific concepts and theories are always subject to challenge and revision over time, based on new evidence and new ways of understanding the world. It is surprising to know that the Buddha, 2,500 years ago, expressed a similar view but in a different form. All concepts such as cause-effect relationships, sequence, atoms, basic elements, all are imaginings of the mind and manifestations of the mind, said the Buddha. The self is not a rational concept. According to the Buddha, the self is not a rational concept. The self is only an emotion. Therefore, consciousness is an illusion, and the sense of the self is only an activity of the brain. Humans live unconsciously in a dreamlike state, believing in their existence. As a result, they become dependent on concepts and forms, not realizing that these have no basis other than the activity of the mind. The Buddha stated that due to this misperception, humanity's liberation is obstructed. The Buddha called this ignorance, or anatman, which Einstein described as the illusion of consciousness. The Buddha's solution to help us escape this prison is through the development and purification of the mind, following a clear path, the Noble Eightfold Path, and the Four Noble Truths. The Buddha's path also includes the expansion of impartial compassion towards all people. According to the Buddha, attachment or desire brings suffering and also prevents escape from the prison. Einstein said this prison limits our love only to loved ones, making us selfish. He proposed that to escape the prison, compassion must embrace all living beings. Einstein's effort in exploring the mystery of the world can be seen through this statement. The most beautiful and deepest experience a man can have is the sense of the mysterious. It is the underlying principle of religion as well as all serious endeavor in art and science. He who never had this experience seems to me, if not dead, then at least blind. To sense that behind anything that can be experienced, there is something that our mind cannot grasp and whose beauty and sublimity reaches us only indirectly and as a feeble reflection, this is religiousness. In this sense, I am religious, said Einstein in The Fusion of Spirit and Science. Einstein recognized that although the human mind is extremely sophisticated, it is still incapable of fully understanding the great mysteries of the universe. However, he never stopped admiring the beauty and order with which nature operates. He called this acceptance and deeper understanding the true religion. In an interesting conversation between the Buddha and one of his disciples, we see a similar approach. The disciple asked, "How vast is the universe, Lord?" The Buddha replied, "Will knowing the size of the universe help you to be free from suffering?" When the disciple admitted that it would not, the Buddha explained, "Then why do you focus on problems that are not important instead of seeking how to end suffering?" With this, Buddhism emphasizes that instead of obsessing over metaphysical questions and curiosities that do not lead to the resolution of humanity's central problem, suffering, we should focus on finding the causes and solutions for it. Buddhism holds that the universe is an endless sequence of cause and effect, always existing without a specific beginning, but with cycles of renewal and the start of new eras. The message shared by Einstein and the Buddha is that understanding the mysteries of nature and the universe, as well as attaining freedom, is possible if one strives to purify the mind, nurture compassion, and transcend the illusion of self and attachment. Both Einstein and the Buddha approached their goals with a scientific spirit and a deep understanding of the mind's capacity, with the hope of freeing humanity from ignorance and suffering. Their legacies continue to inspire and guide many in the search for truth, compassion, and wisdom. Suffering and the cause of suffering. The parable of the poisoned arrow is often used to illustrate the Buddha's teaching that those who concern themselves with the origin of the universe and other such matters are straying from the purpose of religious practice. Imagine a person who has been wounded by a poisoned arrow, and their friends and family find a doctor capable of extracting it. If the person were to say, "I will not allow the arrow to be removed until I know whether the one who shot it was a priest, a prince, or a merchant, and until I know their names and the names of their families. I will not allow it to be removed until I know what kind of bow was used and whether the arrowhead was of a common type or made of iron." Most likely, before that person could obtain all this information, they would no longer have the opportunity to hear the answers. This story serves as a lesson from the Buddha, pointing out that trying to understand the origin of the universe or similar things is not as important as addressing immediate problems such as suffering and restlessness in life. Bertrand Russell, a famous philosopher, once explained why he accepted the Buddhist view on the origin of the world. "Among the founders of all religions in this world, I respect only one, the Buddha. The main reason is that the Buddha did not make claims about the origin of the world. The Buddha is the only teacher who recognized the true nature of the world," said Bertrand Russell. It is interesting to note that modern scientists and psychologists place a great emphasis on the study of the brain and mind. Buddhist meditation methods such as compassion, breath meditation, and mindfulness are widely used in Western medicine and psychology. It would be wonderful if more scientists like Einstein would step forward to build bridges between science and Eastern philosophy in the future. To sum up, Albert Einstein saw Buddhism as a philosophy that harmonizes with modern science, transcending traditional religious dogmas and aligning with a deep understanding of the universe. He admired Buddhism for its focus on experiential knowledge and its approach to solving human suffering, paralleling his own quest to understand the universe. Both Einstein and the Buddha recognized that true wisdom involves transcending superficial questions and focusing on inner transformation and compassion to alleviate suffering.